Hello and welcome to the Minimum Competence episode for Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. I'm your host for today, Andrew Leahy, an assistant teaching professor of law at Drexel Klein School of Law. On today's episode, we've got Purdue's opioid sentence, Comey's 8647 indictment, and Trump firing the entire National Science Board, which sounds like a joke, but it isn't. Let's remember, the cost of liberty is less than the price of repression, and read today's legal news. On this day in legal history, April 29th, 1992, a California jury acquitted 4 Los Angeles police officers charged in the beating of Rodney King, a black motorist whose assault had been captured on videotape the year before. The beating took place on March 3rd of 1991 after a police chase when officers repeatedly struck King while a bystander recorded the incident from nearby. The footage became one of the most important pieces of video evidence in modern American legal history, not because it settled the matter, but because it showed how even seemingly clear evidence can be interpreted differently in a courtroom. To much of the public, the video appeared to show obvious police brutality. To the defense and police apologists, it became something to be slowed down, segmented, and reframed as a series of split-second decisions by officers claiming fear and loss of control. When the jury acquitted the officers, the verdict landed in Los Angeles as a statement about far more than one criminal prosecution. For many residents, especially Black Angelenos, it confirmed the belief that the legal system was unwilling or unable to hold police accountable for violence against black citizens. The verdict triggered several days of unrest across Los Angeles, leaving more than 60 people dead, thousands injured, and large portions of the city damaged. The case also forced the country to confront the relationship between race, policing, prosecutorial burden, and jury perception. The state court acquittals did not end the legal story because federal prosecutors later brought civil rights charges against the officers. In 1993, 2 officers, Lawrence Powell and Stacey Kuhn, were convicted in federal court, while 2 others were acquitted. King also later received civil damages awards from the city of Los Angeles. April 29th remains a major date in legal history because it revealed the limits of video evidence, the difficulty of prosecuting police officers, and the deep public consequences that can follow when a courtroom verdict collides with what millions of people feel they have already seen with their own eyes. Purdue Pharma was sentenced in federal court in New Jersey to $5.5 billion in fines and penalties tied to its 2020 guilty plea over misconduct connected to OxyContin sales. The sentencing helps clear the path for Purdue to wind down through bankruptcy and fund a broader $7.5 billion opioid settlement. Before approving the plea deal, Judge Madeline Cox-Arleo heard hours of testimony from people who described addiction, death, and family devastation connected to the opioid crisis. More than 200 victims submitted letters and more than 40 people spoke in court. Purdue's chairman, Steve Miller, apologized directly to victims after the judge instructed him to do so. Arleo also apologized from the bench, telling victims that the government had failed them by missing opportunities to stop Purdue's conduct earlier. Many speakers said financial punishment was not enough and argued that Purdue's owners, the Sackler family, or company executives should face prison time. The judge said she could not impose jail time because the Justice Department had charged the company, not the individual owners or executives. Although the formal sentence is $5.5 billion, most of that amount will not actually be paid, with the government expected to collect about $225 million if Purdue uses its remaining assets to pay creditors. The settlement includes money for governments and an $865 million fund for individuals, but many victims worry they will be excluded because they cannot produce old prescription records. Purdue says it is on track to exit bankruptcy as a new nonprofit company focused on opioid addiction treatment and overdose reversal medicines. The Justice Department has once again indicted former FBI Director James Comey, this time over a 2025 Instagram post showing seashells arranged as 8647, which prosecutors say amounted to a threat against President Donald Trump. The case was filed in federal court in North Carolina and charges Comey with threatening the president's life and transmitting a threat across state lines. Comey has said he did not intend violence, explaining that he deleted the post after learning some people interpreted the numbers that way. Trump and his allies had argued the message was a threat, with 47 referring to Trump as the 47th president and 86 being read by them as a call to remove him, and apparently violently. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche defended the indictment as a standard threat case, while critics and Comey's lawyers say it looks like a politically motivated prosecution. The Secret Service had previously looked into the post and interviewed Comey, but he was not charged at that time. One should also place the indictment in the broader context of Trump's Justice Department pursuing cases against people and groups seen as his political opponents. Comey already faced a separate criminal case over alleged false testimony to Congress, but that case was dismissed after a judge found a problem with the prosecutor's appointment and the government is appealing. Comey's lawyers are expected to argue that the new case is both retaliatory and protected by the First Amendment. The central legal fight will likely be whether the post was a true threat or protected political speech. The Trump administration has fired all current members of the National Science Board, according to 2 former board members who spoke to Reuters. The board, created in 1950, helps oversee the National Science Foundation and advises both the president and Congress on science and engineering policy. It had more than 20 members who were appointed to 6-year terms, and most of them came from academia, with others from national labs, nonprofits, and private industry. Former board members Yolanda Giel and Kevon Stassen say they were told by email that their removals were effective immediately. According to Giel, all 22 current members were terminated and no explanation was given. Stassen said the move was disappointing but not surprising in light of other Trump administration actions affecting scientific research and independent federal bodies. The National Science Foundation referred questions to the White House. A White House official said the NSF's work would continue without interruption and suggested that the board's congressionally created powers may need to be updated. The firings fit into a broader pattern described by political experts as an effort by the administration to reshape independent institutions by replacing existing officials with more loyal leadership. And on that rather despotic note, I thank you so much for listening to Minimum Competence, your daily news podcast for lawyers. If you're looking for more than Minimum Competence, links to further reading on all the topics touched on today are in the show notes. And reviews go a long way towards helping new listeners to find our show. If you have a moment, leave a rating or review on your podcast player. We'd sure appreciate it. And if you know someone that might be interested in a story we cover, consider sending them the episode. But remember, nothing here should be construed as legal advice because it is certainly never that. Minimum Competence is available at minimumcomp.com and wherever it is you get your finely crafted podcasts. If you haven't checked out the website in a while, give it a look. There are complete transcripts and resources for each episode and its corresponding segments, as well as an opportunity to receive new episodes in email, newsletter, form. We'll see you back here tomorrow, and until then, remember, the worker must work for the glory of his handiwork, not simply for the pay.